Hello, welcome again to Jackrabbit Journal, and a bummer on Hobo Day for the Jacks, Hank. A 10-7 loss to Northern Iowa. It's the third year in a row now that the Jacks have lost on homecoming. What is the deal on these Hobo Day games for SDSU?
I wish that I knew, Tom. It's been a rough go the last few years on arguably the biggest day at Coffin Alumni Stadium during the season. String of luck, but I think it just comes down to the fact that for whatever reason, the Jackrabbits are not playing well on Hobo Day. And last Saturday certainly was the case. These guys didn't play their best football. What I really think, now they've got a goal. They know they've got a streak that needs to end next year, because the young guys need to understand that when you get to SDSU as a football player, you got to learn quickly that losing on Hobo Day is not an option.
All right, a lot of things go into it. It was a good team they played, but a tough one to take here as Northern Iowa wins it 10-7. Zach Lujan did come back and play quarterback after missing the last two games because of injury. The Jacks had it scripted that Lujan would play the first two series. Taryn Christian would come in for the third possession, and then they would evaluate after that. Christian ends up playing the rest of the game, so they still have the quarterback question to figure out. Jacks, though, are driving for the winning score late in the fourth quarter. They get in a 4th down and inches situation at the 10-yard line, do not get it. And with about 90 seconds left in the game, they give it over on downs. I like the call to go for it, and if this play works, if they make one more simple block on the backside, this play works, they get a first down, and I think they go in and score. I know you don't totally agree, but I think it would have worked.
Oh, it certainly could have worked. And we'll look at it in more detail in a little bit. But I'm all for the aggressive play call, absolutely. But the way this game had gone, specifically on the offensive side of the ball, with the big boys up front, they hadn't necessarily had their way with the Panthers last Saturday. So it's a tough call. You want to be aggressive at home in front of a crowd that's ready to see your guys win.
Yeah.
And so you roll the dice and let the chips fall where they may.
All right, we will debate it a little bit later on. We'll take a look at that play again when we go to the board later in the show. But up next, Coach Stig and the big plays the first half in this game against Northern Iowa when we come back.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Let's get to the first half against Northern Iowa. It was a slow start again offensively at home for the Jacks again, Hank, but the defense keeps them in it. And here's Coach Stiegelmeier.
That's football in general. That's football in the Missouri Valley Football Conference. Doesn't matter whether you're on the road or at home. Unfortunately, on homecoming, on Hobo Day, we lose a tough game to a good opponent and didn't play our best football, and so that's tough.
All right. And Hobo Day is a tough day to play on, isn't it? Hobo Week, all that stuff building up to it plays a part in this game, doesn't it?
I think it can be tough. To me, it energizes you. To me, if you think about my one moment is at 2:05 on Saturday in front of all these fans, I mean, that should get you pumped up and just be excited about it. Good opponent, great crowd, all those things.
All right. Great parade, as always, beforehand. And we get into the ball game here, and not a whole lot for either team offensively, but you kind of I expected a low-scoring game in this one, and this is what we got. But Northern Iowa, Aaron Bailey, why is it so hard to defend a running quarterback like this?
Well, he's throwing the ball, and so you drop back and he takes off. The reason we didn't defend him there is our inside guys fell down in the muddy field. And, he has some runs in this game, but you take out the big runs, the ones where we don't do our job, and we do a pretty good job against him.
And, dude, nice job bottling him up here. Don't let anybody else get loose. Jimmy Forsythe there to make the stop. And the defense, again, played very well in this game. Zach Lujan gets the start here.
Yeah, it gets the start. Unfortunately, we slide to that blitz and don't get it picked up. But Zach wasn't sharp. He was healthy enough to play, plenty healthy, but wasn't sharp. And so we ended up taking him out in two possessions. Here, just wrap up. Just grab some cloth. There's nothing secret about that. That guy is strong. He's a strong runner, a good football player.
All right, and the defense, again, will step up and hold again here. Cole Langer with the sack. Were you guys in the right spots for most of the afternoon?
You know what? We did a great job. Other than one pass, probably, we did a great job in pass defense. We had a couple breakdowns on run against him, but I thought we played well as a defense.
All right, no score through the first quarter after the sack by Cole Langer. Taryn Christian in at quarterback now. Carter Schultz, this guy was a problem all afternoon.
Well, that it just should not happen. I mean, you shouldn't run play action pass and not be able to pull the ball up and at least look at your key. We got to block better. But he's a good football player.
Taryn, 14 yards with his feet here.
Yeah, again, it doesn't happen if he has a chance to throw the ball, but again, he gets pressure. I've said before, he's got to learn to step up if he's got time and do it. Here's just called quarterback power type of play. Good job of blocking it. He could have went all the way there. That's how fickle this game is. Got tripped up.
All right, pick up a third down conversion there. Get another one here on a pass to Jake Winicky.
Yeah, this is a good play because we got a screen called to the left. He sees one-on-one coverage on the backside, just throws it to his back shoulder. And again, you get it close to Jake, and good things happen most of the time.
All right, that drive stalls out. Brady Hale had a nice couple of punts, put him inside their 5-yard line. This one almost goes the distance, though.
Yeah, this is scary. Again, we've got 2 guys there, 3 if you count the guy coming off the dive read, and just do your job. And he went 85 yards against North Dakota State on the exact same play. It's not like we hadn't seen it. Do your job.
All right, they had one big pass play here, and it led to a field goal, but this is a very good throw.
Yeah, this is a pass play to a defensive back. They brought in their better athletes, I guess you might call it, and we had a coverage in. We just put in, and they hit us in the soft spot. That's really the only pass that I thought they executed really well.
All right, the only scoring of the first half on a field goal in the second quarter here, and it's 3-0 UNI at halftime. And you guys had 71 yards offensively at the half. What were you thinking after these first 2 quarters?
Block. Block. We run our base plays and we get beat one-on-one. Well, that can't happen, and that part of that is confidence. Part of that is a good defense, an aggressive defense. But and then maybe spread them out a little bit also.
Well, Jacks do spread it out a little bit. They take the lead in the third quarter, and we'll break down the second half with Coach Stieg coming up.
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Well, the Jackrabbits take the lead in the second half. Northern Iowa takes it right back. The Jacks are going in for a glorious last-minute touchdown, and you know how that worked out. But here is Coach Stieg on the offensive changes that the Jacks tried to make going into the second half.
We spread it out a little bit. We started throwing, we call them bandits or bubble screens to the outside. So are there one-on-one type of plays rather than 7 or 8 guys defending a run or a power or whatever.
All right, yeah, had a couple of quick passes to the sideline, getting the ball down the field here on the first drive, and then how do you get Winicky this wide open?
Well, we faked the bubble screen, we faked what we call bandit, and hit him in the side pocket. And he's a little dinged up. There's a lot of times he would have scored on that play, but he's a little beat up right now. We need to get him healthy.
All right, inside the 20, Taryn will take it down to the 3-yard line here.
Yeah, this is a called run again. He does a read and really cuts back. It's just him being an athlete. That happens when you have a guy that has great athletic ability, and he did step out of bounds there, but we'll get the score here in a second.
Yeah, what happens with Connor Landberg? Is this where it's supposed to be going?
Exactly. We've got to run pass. They've got to decide, are you going to defend the dive? We spread them out. Great effort by Connor. Connor's kind of a quiet guy in our program. Every time he touches the ball, he makes a big play, but a big play in this game.
All right, first touchdown of the season for Landberg. Jacks go up 7-3. And then Northern Iowa comes right back here. Bailey goes 35 yards.
Disappointing. That's a mental error, which ends up being a physical error. And that should have been later on they run that play for a 2-yard gain. And same defense. And so unfortunately, you got to play perfect when you play in a tough football game. Here we play some great defense on a 3rd and short. I love seeing all those yellow jerseys get to the ball. That is good defense, whether you fit it right or not.
All right, it's 10-7. UNI's in the lead here, 4th quarter. They go for it on 4th down and just stuff them.
Yeah, great job. Great job by our D. Really the second guy coming up, holding them, and a good mark. And energizes you, gets you excited to be able to win this football game.
All right, still a 3-point game. Jacks get the ball back here, getting a 3rd and 27, and a pass interference penalty called here for a first down.
People yell about calls at certain points of the game. A penalty's a penalty, and whether there's 10 seconds left or 3 quarters left, I think he called, and that was obviously pass interference. So we would expect it called against us if we interfered.
Yeah, you hope that's the way they call it. Winicky gets inside the 20-yard line here late in the ball game.
Yeah, again, you can see he doesn't have the normal bounce in the step, but just a simple slant pattern. That the safety pops up. Again, great effort on his part. Here on the 3rd and long, and Taryn, they do a good job of covering it. And, maybe if he dives forward, he gets the first down. He tries to get a little bit more and gets tackled a yard short here. And then we got a decision to make. And we decide to go for it. I just had in my heart, my belief that we're gonna win this game in the end. And we don't get it. We simply don't get it. And credit to those guys. We didn't block it right, but that doesn't matter. We need to get it. That's on my shoulders, and it's a bad feeling when that happens at the end of a football
All right,
game.
and you shoulder the blame for this, but you're gonna have the crowd yelling at you if you do kick a field goal and tie the game and maybe go to overtime. You're gonna have everybody on you if you do go for fourth and don't get it. You can't win in that situation unless you pick it up and run. So what happens there at the end? I mean, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, my job, there's a real big funnel that goes right to me, and I am responsible. I am the head football coach, and I feel bad for our players. You know, I've been blessed to be the head football coach. I've been involved in a lot of those types of calls. We've won a lot more than we haven't, but in this situation we failed. We fell short, and our players were crushed in the locker room. And it is on me, and I'll leave it at that.
All right, comes back to you. But let's go back and just talk about blocking. You can block better. You can run the ball better. What are some things you need to do better here late in the season?
Well, we can't have 8 penalties. In the Missouri Valley, in a tough football game, you cannot have 8 penalties. And I don't care if they had 7 or not. You know, they had a bunch of penalties also. We are in control of that. And we have to cure that.
Things like where you're in a 3rd and short, you get backed up and it's 3rd and long all of a sudden. Those penalties hurt you. Don't they?
Exactly. We were on the 30-yard line going in on the south side, and we had a holding penalty on a play that all I had to do was move my feet, and it isn't holding. And so that takes you out of field goal range. And it just we got to play better.
Defensively, can you play any better than you're playing right now?
Well, we're playing pretty well. Yeah. And when I talk to I meet with the defensive staff on Sunday afternoon after they've watched the film, graded the film. They give me their grades, and they're pretty tough on their guys. They grade them at a championship level. And I said, what'd you think, Coach? And Coach Brown said we should have shut him out. And so, yes, we can play better, but am I happy with the defense? Yes.
All right, Hank, the defensive coaches said the defense played okay. They didn't play great in this game against Northern Iowa. And, I mean, they only gave up 10 points, but there were some plays they didn't fit, according to the coaches, and they were okay with the defense, but they can play better. The defense can even play better.
Well, they certainly can, and I think that they did play admirably against an offense that certainly had some playmakers, most notably the quarterback who ran wild quite a bit last Saturday. But this is the ultimate team sport, Tom, and so on days when the offense isn't necessarily clicking, the defense has to go above and beyond their normal call of duty of pitching 3 and outs and getting off the field. You got to find a way to make a play, make a turnover that perhaps sparks the offense to go out there and put some points on the board, or just take the reins and put some points on the board yourself as a defensive unit.
Yeah, a little pick six or something like that would help. But still, in the last 3 games, ever since the second half of the North Dakota State game, the Jackrabbit defense has been really, really good. But again, Coach Brown says we can play even better. They thought they should have had a shutout in this game against Northern Iowa, which would have been asking a lot because of that running quarterback. This is a big deal in the league because they're going to face Illinois State. South Dakota State's trying to do it with Taryn Christian right now, but running quarterbacks, you said during this game that you don't account for the quarterback as a defense for the most part, do you, as being a runner?
No, the majority of the time you don't. But now that you know, when you're scouting these teams, right, coming in, you're trying to develop a plan. You understand the challenges that you're going to face, especially when it comes to a mobile quarterback at this level. The FCS level, it's very difficult for a defense to match up against a very athletic quarterback who can not only drop back and throw the football, but can also spread you out and run around sideline to sideline as an athlete. You don't know if that many teams are equipped in the front 7 to be able to run sideline to sideline with an athletic quarterback like that. Puts a ton of stress on those guys and a ton of stress on the secondary because they've got to stay in coverage even longer.
All right, only 10 points given up in this game, and the Jacks drop at 10-7. Up next, rapid fire with the guy who leads South Dakota State in tackles this year. That is Jesse Bobbit. And which Latin pop music gets him all fired up?
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Jesse Bobbit is the Jackrabbit leading tackler right now, and he is in this week's Rapid Fire interview with David Brown.
First question, why are you number 7?
Number 7, when I committed my senior year of high school, they called me up and said, you got a couple numbers to choose from, and number 7 seemed to be the best. My mom said lucky number 7, so that's what I went with.
Okay, you're from Illinois. Are you a North or a South Side guy, Cubs or White Sox?
I'm North Side Cubs, and I'm from the Northwest suburbs, so it's my team. It's what I stick with.
What is either the best or worst nickname you've ever had?
I got some good nicknames on the team. We got Babito, Jeff. Sometimes from my mustache growing out, I look like a Jeff. I guess I'll just say that.
We'll take it. Among all the linebackers, who would win a 100-yard race backpedaling?
Backpedaling, definitely not Dalton Cox. Probably TJ Lowry. He's pretty quick backpedaling.
You wouldn't even say yourself?
I got some tight hips right now. It's been a long fall camp.
What is the best road atmosphere you've ever been in?
Road atmosphere. Nebraska was pretty cool. Freshman year, we played there. That was awesome. That was a great atmosphere to play in.
Do you have a pregame ritual?
Pregame ritual. Not too much. Just throw on the helmet, maybe a little scream, some chest bumps with teammates in the locker room. Cole Langer over here. Get wild up, and that's about it.
No food that you have to eat, no music you have to listen to?
It's hard for me to eat before games. I'm a nervous person, but I try and get riled up and get going.
What is your favorite Coach Stig catchphrase?
Super.
Why super?
A lot of things you do in Stig Pop and stuff, he'll ask questions, people will put in their input, and he'll say, super.
What is your guilty pleasure song that you listen to?
Song?
Yeah.
Baby I Like It by Enrique Iglesias.
And why that?
Just gets me pumped up.
You're stranded on a desert island. What's the one food you'd eat for the rest of your life?
Pizza.
Any specific kind?
Got some deep dish from Chicago style pizza.
Which one? Giordano's?
The Lou Malnati's is my favorite type of pizza.
Lou Malnati's. Finally, who's the smelliest teammate?
Right now, my hands are pretty smelly, but I'm definitely not the smelliest. Let's say the smelliest teammate is probably Thayer Trenthill.
The long
snapper. The long snapper is pretty smelly.
He doesn't get a lot of duty. How does he smell so bad?
Just natural body odor.
Thanks for playing Rapid Fire.
Thanks.
Well, up next, we'll go to the board. Why the read option is such a handful for defenses to deal with, and can the Jacks get back on track this Saturday at Missouri State?
Jackrabbit Journal on Midco Sports Network is presented by Dakota Land Honda.
Welcome back. Before we get to Missouri State this week, let's go to the board. And Hank, this is that fourth down play that the Jacks get stopped on. Lines up this way. They've got Cole Langer in the game. They've got all these guys stacked up, 2 tight ends, 2 blocking backs for Kyle Paris. Everything's going this way. They don't get a piece of 93 at all, who's been killing them all game. He comes in, knocks out Paris, and they get stopped right here. If they get a piece of this guy, does this play work? Did they have enough going?
Well, yeah. If you get a piece of this guy, your odds of this turning into a positive play increase dramatically. Because let's look at the basics. When you look at how things shake out over here pre-snap, just with regard to numbers, yes. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4 defenders, right? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blocking backs, blockers on the offensive line. Oh wait, there's a 5th. And potentially a 6th over here on the backside. Now, I can't speak to how these guys would typically count this off on the backside, but what I can probably speak to is the fact that this guy poses a much greater threat on the backside run through than what this linebacker does. So yeah, ideally, you get at the very least a chip, if not make him a priority and put a full body on him. And there, you're leading the charge up. Now, I'm not saying that it was clicking off perfectly over here on the play side. It had its issues, but just from a purely number standpoint, you're certainly in a much better position to pick up the half yard that you needed.
Yeah, there was going to be a big collision right there, most likely going forward. It would have worked had they not got 93
Worst case
in the
scenario,
backfield.
yeah, you've got 3 blockers on this one guy. You've got this guy kicking out here, and then you've got a one-on-one with Kyle Paris against the safety. I'm taking Paris every time.
All right, let's move on to running quarterbacks. And this is something that the Jackrabbits, every defense is running into right now. Aaron Bailey had a huge game at running back as a quarterback for Northern Iowa in this game. This is the run from their own 6-yard line. Bailey actually starts with his feet on the 1-yard line, but they rip it out all the way to midfield, and they're going to make a fake here. Our defensive end is going to go after that fake. Linebacker is going to come around here and keep contained, and then Bailey is going to rip it up inside these guys here. What happens with the safety?
Well, when you look at this is actually a good call against this defense, against this formation for the Jackrabbits. As far as the linebackers are concerned, they did their jobs on this play. Outside linebacker, he's the pitch man, he's the force player, he's got to turn the ball carrier in no matter what. That's his job. Make sure I'm outside of this block and that the ball carrier does not get outside of me, which he does.
Middle linebacker gets blocked.
Right. Middle linebacker here, he's actually what we'd call the bounce guy in this play, so he's going to look to bounce the ball carrier with his outside shoulder if necessary, and so that you create an alley right here, which leaves the safety as the lone tackler. Now, the safety's playing 10 to 12 yards off the line of scrimmage pre-snap, so you understand this tackle isn't going to be made at the line of scrimmage. Ideally, if they run this play against this defense, the tackle's made 5 to 6 yards down the field, and it's done.
Instead, we get two contained guys, and Bailey takes off, and Nick Farina's got to come over and make the tackle at midfield.
Right. Basic run fits, guys. We got a guy on the outside, guy on the inside. We need a guy in the middle to take care of this.
Yeah. Coach Steg, Coach Brown are talking about fit the play. That's what happens when you got 10 guys that fit it, and one guy misses, right? You get a big game. All right. The Jacks are going to face this again against Illinois State, probably coming up with Trey Roberson. Probably not so much against Missouri State. This Saturday, Jacks at Missouri State. The Bears are 0-4 in the conference right now. They're giving up 50 points a game, and should be a chance for the Jacks to get some confidence back.
We need to be ready to number one, regain our confidence, and that happens by doing some good things on the field, and then just play Jackrabbit football. And the odds would say we're the favorite, but we need to go down and play good Missouri Valley football. We need to play error-free. We need to play with confidence. We need to simplify the game plan for our players.
What I want to know is where this offensive line's trademark nasty attitude has gone. They've been too inconsistent this year. They need to get back on track.
See you next week.